How you doing? Hope you're doing well. I want to jump on and do a quick chat on manifesting, and this dropped in this morning. I was contemplating last night what to really kind of talk about, and the topic came in this morning about manifesting. So let's go in this direction for this video. With manifesting, a lot of people do the visualization process. And in that, you can do that. You can imagine it and imagine it and imagine it, and it's not coming. Why is it not coming? There's something that's in resistance to you receiving it. There's a gap between that thing in you that you're keeping held, whether it's security, fear, doubt, distrust, whatever the case may be. And that can be from anywhere, wherever that came from that you accepted about yourself, that's keeping you in a limited form from receiving it. And so we can be imagining it as it already is, that it's happening, that we're creating it. But if you have a strong will, because we all have choice, that it can possibly not manifest. And if you know the techniques about visualization, being there now, here in the moment, you're bringing it from the future into the present moment, right? And so you're manifesting from the present moment with projection into the future without really realizing it. But if you imagine it now, it is happening now because it already is, because once you ask for it, it's already created. And so it is there. It's just you aligning with it. Now you do the work, right? So it's always pending your own reality, which is trust, faith, love, abundance, happiness, joy, bliss, right? And if we're not a match to that, and that ain't happening, and we have all these belief systems that we've accepted because we have choice, we have free will, we can choose whatever we want to choose it and live it until we are done living it, or wanting to be done living it, until we are ready to give it up. And with that, in truth, having free will and choice, no matter how much we are envisioning it, where a lot of people get stuck and hang up on, then they start believing, I'm not worthy, this isn't working, and I'm giving up, and when it's really just looking at it, right, and questioning it and doing the inner self work. Why isn't this manifesting? And some people are afraid to go there, but without actually going there, we can't release that. What's keeping you from it? And so we have to take a look at it. We have to do the self inner look, and what is being the resistance, or in that place that's keeping you from receiving it. Because again, you can sit there and visualize it like forever, and then you're going to be blocking yourselves, right? And so it doesn't matter how much you do that, and a lot of people may have that experience with, no matter what you do, it's not manifesting, right? You try all these different techniques and all these different scenarios, pretend to be there now, fake it till you make it, envision it, right? Be in that moment, feel it, sense it, hear it. But then we have these other aspects of self that play a part and role in it. We have the timeline, the lag, right? Which is divine timing, right? And divine timing is not on our timeline, it's on source timeline. But we also have perspective and perception, reality of what our beliefs is, and is it aligning with source? We have to align ourselves with source. And if we have beliefs, doubt, fears about it, and we can't do it, or we don't want to do it, or laziness, or the feeling of I'm not good enough, those are going to keep you from doing it. And it can be simply just something that you picked up in lifetime from a child, or a belief from a past life, or whatever the case may be, that you accepted into your reality, and we can't see it. And this is where shadow work comes in to play, and where we are starting to question the situation, because if it's not easily manifested and it's been years, you know, there's something going on there. And that's when we want to take a look at it. What is keeping us from what we're trying to manifest? Because it already is there. We don't have to keep visualizing it, right? That keeps adding to the struggle. And people think that they have to visualize it, but it's actually there the moment you ask for it, right? So we don't have to actually do that, right? And that is also a disbelief, that's an in-common structure, is what they're calling, to the nature of the way of the flow. And so with that, which they're sharing, we don't actually have to do the visualization. It's already there because you already asked for it. It's already done, right? It's just getting ourselves into alignment with it, right? And so to try to bring in visualizing ourselves there, we're projecting ourselves into the future to bring it into the present, but still in the accessing of it, there's still something there that's unresolved, right? Like a computer system. It's like having a computer system and then going into the programs and see which ones are no longer matched to the updated version and get rid of them or keep it, and having conflicts, right? Or having to resolute it in that way, if that makes sense. And then over time, trying to manifest, fighting and going against the current, and we can get worn down. We can want to give up. We can just be like, you know what, it's not even worth it. I'll do something else, or I'll go in a different direction. It's our value and our worth and our understanding that's based on the realization and reality that we're living in, that's keeping us from it, right? So just having the simple understanding of it is going to help to navigate it more and better, in a better way. And we do have to take a deep dive within ourselves to do it. And with that being said, deep dive, right? What is a deep dive? It's shadow work, it's inner child healing. It is looking at our belief systems. What is the resistance to manifesting that? Because, like I said, trying to put ourselves in that place, feeling it, sensing it, being as if, is great, but it's already there, right? We don't have to, and again, we can't, we're projecting outside, which is bringing the future to the present moment, right? And that's not a reality. That's not true. It's not truth, right? We can pretend to be there, but it doesn't fix the situation. We have to actually go into the computer system, look at everything that's written in the computer, the DNA, the structures, what's going on, and transform it, right? And so then once we get rid of that and we align that, then we can do that, right? Otherwise, we're just in resistance and we're adding more complex issues to the situation, because you can't just do it that way, which a lot of people don't understand in the manifesting process, right? When things are not manifesting the way that we want it and taking forever, there's a delay, there's an absence of something that we need in that place. And a lot of people don't teach that. So, in that perspective, we want to take a look at it. And so, how do we do that? We question it. So, what is keeping me from this? This is whatever the situation is that you're manifesting, whether it's a new job, a house, a career, or a partner. What is the resistance to that, right? What is the belief around that? Taking a look at our beliefs and what is in my system, my DNA. Now, when we question it, our system is set up that it will answer you. And in that answering, we have to be ready to receive it, right? And what I got this morning was, what if when your thoughts arise that are negative, either around that situation or another situation, whenever that is the right timing, because that's the moment where you can make the change. It's a self-activating situation. So you have control of your DNA and access to all information at any time by questioning it. You question it and you demand it and you have the answer. And then it's just receiving it. Now, sometimes there may be a delay, an absence of resistance where it'll come in for you, right? So when you're out of that space. So if you're trying to manifest a house or a job, right, and you're frustrated, your answer isn't going to come then. It's going to come when you're least expecting it, right, which will be the lag. So it may be a day or two later, or maybe a week later, when you're out of your struggle, when you're out of your suffering, when you're out of your resistance to it, trying to figure out what is in your DNA that's keeping you from it. Your whole system is an intelligent system. We have to remember this. And it's your perspective that's wrapped around it that is keeping it from coming in and manifesting it. So if we look at it that way and we get used to looking at it, it's a computer system, right? It's an intelligence. It's been created that way. Our asking the questions is diving into the system and retrieving the answer, right? Because we have access to all things at all times, at any moment. And we just have to be able to understand that. And when we question it, we receive it. But if we're in the resistance, we can't receive it. It waits till a time where you are in meditation or in your calmness or when you're outside of your suffering. It'll rise. But do we make the connection that that is when the answer is coming? No, because we may be a week away from that, or we may be a day away from it when we actually originally asked the question, right? Because when you're in suffering, it's it's out of alignment with source, because it's source alignment, love, peace, joy, bliss. And if we're in our suffering, we are separate. We can't get it, and so it waits for time for it to come in when we can be in that space, right? And so it may be a week later, a month later, a year later, whatever is keeping you from that space to receive the answer, right? And so divine timing is when you are in alignment with source, right? Not when you're out of it. So from the perspective, we can't make the connection. We may have things arising like our thoughts, our beliefs, our negativity. I can't do this. I don't want to do this. This is not mine. Who is this? And but when we give outside of ourselves to somebody else's stuff that we're receiving within, whether it be emotions, feelings, thoughts, beliefs, whatever's arising within is ours, right? But we always want to project it outside. Who am I picking up on? What is their why am I receiving their negative thoughts? But it's coming up within you. So it's yours, right? Anything that rises within you is yours. It's nobody outside of you, but we think it is, right? Because we may not make the connection that it's us being open to receive in that moment. And how does sometimes our answers come is important to understand. It comes through thoughts, emotions, beliefs, feelings, different things. That's how our answers come if we're not able to or have our abilities open and awake to receive the information like a channeler or like a psychic or on that level. We will receive it on different levels, like our emotional level, our spiritual level, our intuitive cycle, right? And so we will receive it on different levels depending on where we are on our journey, which is also another reason why we should work on our intuitive abilities, right? And so having that direct connection so we can receive it much easier and better and understand it. Because if we're just receiving things from our emotions, we're going to be like, why am I all of a sudden feeling like I'm going to cry, or why am I going to feel like I'm mad, or these are things that are erupting, and it's trying to get your attention, right, to take a deep dive in, but we want to put it on and project it on an outside situation, whether somebody else is making you feel this way or somebody else is doing it. The outside world does project back to us, right, what we're not willing to see for ourselves, which can be very convoluting too, because when we're not getting it, the outside world reflects it and triggers us to bring it up, right? So there's a lot that goes into this process, and it goes pretty deep. And so it's really understanding the concepts and understanding manifestation from that perspective, right? And so when we get it, then we can understand it better and more fully in a higher consciousness, right? To where we are connected with source, right? Not outside of us, because we have all things pending in our reality. Everything that we've asked for is already there. We don't have to do projection. We don't have to do the realization and bring it in and imagining it. That is just too much work. We don't need to do that. We can instantaneously manifest if we're aware of it and we understand it and how it works, right? And when we have something pending that we're wanting, when you're ready to receive it and let go of everything else that is keeping you from it, then we can dive in and do the work, right? The shadow work. And so from there, we can start taking a look at it. So when we question, right, this is the process, right? So when we question something that we're working on manifesting that hasn't come in a long time, we will receive the answer, right? No matter what that is, but we have to be ready and understand how it's going to come to us on different levels, right? Which I already mentioned. So from there, when we are able to receive it, whatever arises is what's keeping you from there, if that makes sense. For instance, if you're trying to manifest a house, but you're not getting nowhere, it's been years, and so there's something pending there that's keeping you from it, right? And so we want to look at that. So question draws you into that place and allows it to come up. when we receive it, we may have thoughts, emotions, feelings, whatever is arising around that to show you. If we go into that space, then we can see it and understand it. And so, what is that? Maybe it's just the belief of, I will never have a house, and emotions erupting. So, where did you get that belief, I will never have a house? Was it a parent that said it to you? Was it a past life situation? Was it your observance of other people that you accepted? Because we all accept all beliefs to ourselves, right? We allow ourselves to accept everything, whether we're conscious or unconscious about it. So, whatever that belief was, I will never have a house, I will never have the right job, I will never have a career, I will never have a business, I will never have a real relationship. What Where did that thought come from? Which actually really doesn't matter. I mean, it's okay if you want to understand how that became, but it doesn't really matter how or why or where it came from, although we may be shown that and then we can have a better understanding of it. But the egos want to know how it got there because it may want to blame or shame or punish or whatever the case may be. But it's just the important part is knowing, I will never have a house, or I will never have the right relationship, or I will never have this. If that is the eruption of what is keeping you, your answer to the question that you questioned, right? If that is what that is, then that is what we want to look at. And so in that moment, we can either accept or reject it, right? So we are asking the question, getting the answer when we're ready to accept it. And then when it comes, are we going to accept it or reject it? Do we want to keep it or do we not want to keep it, right? And so at that point, we make a choice again, right? That's our realization. So from that point of realization, we get to choose free will, choice, whatever it is that we want. And then anything and all things that come up around it of why we chose it, you may feel fear, or you may feel doubt or not worthy or money issues, or and then we need to work on those situations, right? And so yes, we're going down the rabbit hole because all those things are included in there, right? We need to look at all those pieces and why that happens. So that's where understanding the whole situation can be useful, though it is not important. What's important was we want to change the mainframe around it, right? Because we don't want to blame or judge the situation or why that came about, because then we're going on a whole different rabbit hole, right? We want to stay focused on the current situation of what we're trying to manifest, a home, a relationship, a new car, a new job, whatever the case may be. And so from there, we're allowing ourselves to be in the present moment of that situation. So once we receive the answer, right, we can look at it. Now, do I accept it or do I reject it? Of course, I want to reject that. So I'm putting that out. I'm rejecting it and I am rewriting it and I am choosing trust and love to overcome that and overwrite that situation, right? Because before we were in the state of love, before that belief system came in and we accepted it, we were in a state of alignment and love on that, right? And because we accepted something that wasn't in alignment with it, we put that block and barrier from that, if that makes sense. So now we have an overlay, the karmic overlay, which we continue to live out until until we're ready to give it up. So it's a replacement of source in our lives, in our abundance and receiving and divine guidance. And when we take that out, we can't really necessarily take that out, but we rewrite it back to the original cause, right? Which was the case in being, why we chose it, right? And so we're taking that out, why we chose that, forgiving it, whatever the situation may be. It may be inner child work, shadow work, worthiness, emotional work, right? Something that we thought that we believed. We're doing the inner work around that situation. Now, when we can get to that set point of the situation that's keeping us from what we're manifesting, we can transform it because it's still there. Your foundation is always love. We just overmask it with these belief systems and these things so we can have that experience, right? And so when we can get to the root cause, pull it like a weed from a garden, and replace it with love, abundance, and source, to its natural state, then we can receive it, and then we can practice the manifestation of bringing that into the present moment, right? So there is work to be done before we can actually do that, because you're just putting resistance on receiving by trying to do that when we are out of alignment, right? So we have to clean the slates around that situation in order to have the instant manifestation of that in our reality, right? Bringing it here, because the minute you are um, asking, it's already created, right? Source gives you anything and all things that you want, no matter what it is in that moment. It's you that's keeping, or us, or I, whoever is the manifester, keeping it from us, right? We are the ones in the creation of here and now, in this time and the moments, that is creating our reality, our world, our experience. And so from that point of view, we can see it and take it from that perspective and understand how it is that work is flowing through us, to us, by that, what we are creating in the moment of manifestation. And so in that reality, we can either have or reject, right? And so are we going to continue to accept the beliefs that are coming up, that we're experiencing, or are we going to take it and reject it, right? I don't choose that anymore, pluck that out, ask for love and guidance and um, abundance, or whatever the case may be. If there was inner healing that needs to be done, if you need to overcome some fears, whatever the case may be that's stuck in that energy that is keeping you from it, we want to do that work, the shadow work, and then receive it and let it go, right? And ask for guidance and help in transforming it, right? So we want to ask for guidance from the higher source, right? And to help with that condition and that pending situation, and allowing that to move through and for you so you can see it, right? Now, with that, we're currently in the pink moon, the Libra moon, right? And so it's always a good idea to use the full moon lights, right? Because what does the full moon do? It helps shed light. It brings things to the truth, to the top, right? Of what we're trying to work on and manifest, and see it from that perspective. The truth, right? The truth, the moon, the lights, right? That's the light beam. Beam, not being. Just want to clarify that because it sounded like I said being, but it's the moon beam, the light that brings the stuff to the top, right? Whenever you're in alignment with that and you're manifesting, working with the natural ways and currents of evolution, right? Because if you look at the sea, right, what happens to the sea during the full moon, right? It affects everything around it, right? It draws out stuff, right? And that's why you see a lot of people potentially, having a harder time around the full moons, right? And we don't understand and grasp at how that affects us. It affects the sea. We can see it, but we don't see that it affects us, but it does. And a lot of people become more stir crazy and chaotic around the full moon, especially when it's one that affects you. Now, I was born under Libra sign, and with it being a Libra moon, this one, it tends to be a little bit more revealing for me about my stuff. So bringing that up, I was able to see, what is keeping me from the manifestations of what I'm working on. And so as that came up this morning, thank you, universe and the moon and source, and my guides, uh, I was able to see everything that was in the situation that's keeping me from manifesting what I'm working on, right? And and with that came emotions, a lot of emotions, and just tears just running down, and the thoughts that I was keeping, whether they came from a past life, they came from my parents, they came from generations, right? Because we are part of our mother and father and their mother and father and their mother and father, and so wherever that came from, it was lodged in my system, and it finally came up and erupted into why I can now see it. And so I did the healing work around it, right? And so now I'm more able, as it continues to shift, I'll be able to manifest it more now that I've transformed it. So anything that you are again, natural state is source, right? Love, abundance, happy, because that's our origination, right? We don't originate from our parents. We originate from source. regardless of what you want to believe, or from whatever star you want to, because at some point you were from source going to a different star, right? And that's why we have that connection there, because we're a part of it all, the universe, right? So no matter where you think that you come from, we all originated from the same place, right? So with that, that's our foundation. And switching your belief systems from our illusion, the overlay, the play, to the truth of all existence, knowing that we actually came from source, not our parents, is just a way through the tunnel into this reality, the darkness, right? The shadow, the experience, the life that we live, the person, our identity, right? Because everything is here created for us. This is where we come to play it out. So once we understand our foundation from the illusion, the Maya, the overlay, the karmic overlay, whenever we've taken something that is not in alignment with our foundation, it's the overlay, it's the karmic overlay, right? And it can apply to anything and all things, our belief systems. Whatever we've replaced source with is our karmic overlay. And it's not until we release that or change that or transform that back to its origination, which is source, love, peace, happiness, joy, bliss, then we're going to continue to live in the karmic overlay, right? And then Healing the Karmic Overlay, right, is a book. I have the passages and invocations, and I help with coaching and helping people transform, manifest their lives, things that they're working on, shadow work, inner child healing, manifestation. So book a session. But once we are able to see the truth, the wholeness, the beauty in life and how it really is, and how we're working on things, how things are transforming, and understand the overlay, the karmic overlay, and we can transform and manifest anything that we want, no matter what that situation is. But when we have something that's pending that we were wanting and we're not able to get it because there's something in the way, it's like having an island out there, but if you don't have a boat or know how to swim, you can't get there from here, right? And so we have to do the work to get there. We have to learn how to swim. We have to learn how to build a boat, or whatever the case may be. We have to do the work, right? And nobody's just going to save you, because we all agreed to be here in the play. That's why there's no savior, right? And if you're waiting for a savior, you're going to wait till the eons to come for somebody to do it, because there's no saving something that you've signed up for, right? Because we all signed up for it. We can only save ourselves. And so we have to do the work, right? And if you don't want to do the work, you don't have to. Doesn't matter. It's up to you. It's your choice. You can or you don't have to, right? It's up to you, really. But with that being said, just again, once we have the karmic overlay, that's our illusion, that's the Maya, that's the Dharma, that's the cycles, the path, the conditions, the belief systems, our struggles, our suffering, that is overlaying the truth foundation, which is love, bliss, happiness, and joy, and abundance, right? So we have to pluck out that stuff in order to come back to the truth and replace it back with the truth, right? And so it's not until then that we can be free to manifest the things that we're wanting more easily, smoothly, and quickly from that point of view, because source is abundance and it's all given to you. We keep it from ourselves. So wanted to share that, and hopefully that helps. So if you're interested, book a session. We can go over more on that in detail and kind of navigate it for you and see where or what is holding up your manifestations. And books are available on Amazon, so you can purchase them. You can book coaching sessions, and we can do shadow work and kind of investigate and look at those situations for you. Thanks for tuning in. Happy journeys.